Many debate if another open-world game will ever truly rival Red Dead Redemption 2. I personally believe that question misses the point. The way I see it, Red Dead Redemption 2 stands beyond gaming itself. If it were a novel, it would be a literary classic. If it were a TV show, it would surpass Breaking Bad. If it were a film, it would be an Oscar winner. That's how exceptional it is. It crafts a world so authentic and immersive that it feels less like an open-world game and more like a glimpse into another reality. It delivers a gripping story brought to life by some of the most well-written characters in gaming history. Not just the protagonist himself, but a whole cast that feels unforgettable. Any title that channels even a trace of its brilliance becomes something remarkable. The word masterpiece gets tossed around a lot in gaming. Even I do it too, all the time. But few titles have ever earned it as rightfully as this game. What Rockstar pulled off back in 2018 is so timeless, so unparalleled, that it's hard to even talk about it in gaming terms. But in this video, I'll try my best to do just that. This retrospective will unfold across 3 different chapters, beginning with its centerpiece, the open world, then look into its brilliant story and characters, and then finally look at the gameplay side of things. This video took a lot of effort to make. Please support the channel by clicking that subscribe button. That being said, settle in and get comfortable. What follows is an unforgettable ride through one of gaming's greatest achievements. This is Rockstar's Red Dead Redemption 2. What more can be said about an open world that's so universally admired and still a benchmark even after nearly a decade? No open world has managed to capture the same sense of authenticity and realism. Other open worlds might be bigger or flashier, but none feel this alive, none feel this real. Games have come and gone, studios have risen and fallen, but the world of Red Dead Redemption 2 remains unparalleled. Not because no one tried, but because what Rockstar achieved here feels almost impossible to replicate. This open world perfectly embodies Rockstar's lineage as masters of the craft, a creation so ambitious that only they possess the resources, talent, and vision to ever surpass it. Rockstar didn't merely craft an open world, they immortalized the Wild West itself. It's a world that lives and breathes and evolves with you, reflecting your journey and the passage of time within the story. I often say this about Rockstar Games: their worlds feel less like games and more like alternate realities. You don't simply play them, you live them. They linger in your thoughts long after you have turned them off. Naturally, I have to address the visuals. This is easily one of the most visually striking games ever created. First off, the real magic lies in just how immersive the exploration feels, something most games still struggle to match even today. There's barely any HUD cluttering your screen, and sometimes I even turn off the minimap entirely just to soak it all in. What I love is how the game wants you to take things slow. How it wants you to enjoy every scene and moment. Every action, every animation, it's all deliberate. Some of them are downright insane. And then there's this one I just noticed in this playthrough. How Arthur actually has this slipping animation on this frozen lake in the mountains. I swear I have never seen that before. Then of course it crafts breathtaking vignettes through its dynamic weather and time of day system. Daylight gives the world a totally different vibe. But at night, the moonlight can make everything feel tense or even terrifying. The volumetric fog, the rainfall, the clouds, the shifting light, each element impacts not just the people but the world itself. The way the foliage dries under harsh sunlight and regains its vibrancy in the rain is just one example. The town feels so alive. During the day, people everywhere, shops bustling, and then at night, everything quiets down. The lights glow inside the buildings while the streets go empty. Just like real life. I'll dive deeper into the towns in a bit. They truly deserve their own spotlight. It's a masterpiece in world building. The way it nails the feeling of a specific time and place is just insane. The regional variety is remarkable. With every camp relocation, the environment shifts dramatically, offering a fresh and distinct atmosphere each time. Even though newer titles have surpassed it in certain technical aspects, Red Dead Redemption 2 remains unmatched in its artistry and realism. Even discussing it gives me goosebumps. Considering GTA 6 is less than a year away, what they'll achieve next is truly unimaginable. Decades from now, we'll still marvel at Red Dead Redemption 2 and work out how Rockstar managed to craft a world that feels almost indistinguishable from reality. Their vision was clear: to replicate life itself through their art. The game constantly finds ways to keep you engaged in your journey. Every stretch of land feels alive with moments of discovery, making long rides anything but monotonous. The fact that you have to manage your horse adds a layer of realism. You have to feed it, brush it, and maintain it to preserve stamina, forcing you to think strategically about how to pace your travels and conserve energy. The fact that you actually have to think about your outfit, one to keep you from freezing to death in the snowy mountains of Amberino, and another to survive the sweltering humidity of Rhodes, is just wild. As I mentioned before, let's get into the towns and settlement. Visiting each town for the first time feels like a little set-piece moment burnt into my memory. And I mean never. I'll never forget my first ever visit to every single town in this world. My first visit to Valentine, the livestock town, left an impression I still carry. Especially this one muddy lane. It doesn't feel like a game, it feels real. The town breathes civilization in motion. The woodcutter on the right greeting me politely as he goes about his day.
Morning.
The layered soundscape, the hum of daily life all around. And then I'd come back to Valentine at night and it's like a whole different place. During this playthrough, I experienced an encounter in Valentine I had never seen before. I was riding through the town when I saw these two weird men who were secretly peering through a window at a couple inside.
Ooh, it's gonna happen! Look at them!
And the instant they noticed me watching, they scattered. It's subtle, unscripted details like this that make every playthrough unique and fresh. The next town is Strawberry, and I love that on your very first visit, you come across a lost tourist trying to find his way. As you help him, he even gives you a little hint of what to expect in the town through a real conversation. And of course, Strawberry is another beautiful town. It has its own vibe and identity, standing out as a charming little tourist spot. Look at this, it's raining and in an instant, this crowded little town empties out as everyone scurries inside to stay dry. It's the small details of realism that give this world its authenticity. Speaking of different vibes and identity, nothing fits that better than the town of Rhodes. Rhodes has to be my favorite region and part of the game. There's just something about its dusky red soil everywhere. The diverse culture, the symbolic Braithwaite and Grey Manor, their plantations, and the environment as a whole. It has a distinct visual identity compared to other parts. As you ride through it, the difference is immediately apparent. And of course, we have to talk about Saint Denis. This town is hidden in plain sight. I had no idea such a futuristic place even existed within its vast wilderness. The first time you go there, it feels like you have stepped into a completely different game. It's like a shift in era, or at least a glimpse of it. Honestly, it reminded me of Mafia 2. How that game captured two totally different eras with sudden changes in fashion, life, and atmosphere. It transforms with the time of day, and its stark contrast with the swampy wilderness of La Grasse, complete with alligators, is remarkable. It was the introduction of Saint Denis around Chapter 4, where I was convinced this game is a masterpiece, one of the most striking examples of world building in any game. And that's only the major towns. Smaller settlements like Emerald Ranch, Van Horn, Annesburg further enrich the world. The variety and scope on display is on another level. Even after hundreds of hours, the game continually surprises. There's always some corner yet to explore. This perpetual sense of discovery gives Red Dead Redemption 2 its timeless quality even 7 years on, a hallmark of Rockstar's design. Even in GTA 5, one never feels they have seen everything. No other open-world game approaches this level of depth and immersion. I remember when this game launched during my O-levels days, it completely took over my life, and I couldn't concentrate on school for an entire month. I'd plan my in-game days sitting in the classrooms as if they were real, planning to venture into the snow-capped mountains of Amberino to finally tame the best horse, which is the Arabian horse, stopping by Valentine for a haircut and a bath, maybe even pick up a bounty from the sheriff's office, before embarking on a long, reflective ride to Saint Denis to find Arthur a more refined outfit. And within that seemingly mundane plan, I'd stumble upon characters and encounters that lingered long after, quiet reminders of how alive and unpredictable this vast open world truly is. The interactions with the NPCs are so real, it's like they're actual human beings going about their lives.
Can I hold you a second, mister? Can I?
Okay, just quickly.
It's these dynamic encounters that elevate the open world, giving each playthrough a sense of individuality and meaning. I stumble into all sorts of wild moments, like a horse randomly kicking its owner to death, or the KKK deep in the woods ranting about nonsense. Then there is this blind beggar asking for money, but when you pull your gun on him, you realize he's not even blind, he's faking it. Or that wannabe gunslinger who won't stop bragging until you finally challenge him, beat him, and walk away with some quick cash. And that's only the lighter side. You'll encounter more grounded moments too, like stumbling upon snakebite victims in the wilderness. You can choose to save them either by sucking out the venom or giving them medicine. It seems like a fleeting encounter, but hours later, long after you've forgotten, that same man finds you to repay his debt, often by buying you a gun or covering your store purchase. Or it could be a lady being kidnapped or sometimes dragged off by a bounty hunter. If you step in to help and ride her back home, she actually rewards you. But that's not even the best part. It's the conversations you have with these people. They feel so real, so human, that I can still recall exactly what each of them said.
Didn't think a man could run so fast.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, had a good laugh on that one. I tell the husband, what does he do? Should have never gone over there, honey.
Even after spending over 500 hours across multiple platforms, I still ran into encounters I'd never seen before. For instance, Javier Escuela might appear during your journey and warn Arthur, Bill's been kidnapped, we have to save him. Instantly, all your plans are thrown out the window as you pivot to rescue Bill. No other game does this, seriously none. I've just mentioned a few encounters, but there are actually hundreds, maybe even thousands of unique and varied moments like that in the game. Such dynamic, unexpected encounters are a hallmark of Rockstar's design, and they're exactly why anticipation for the chaos of GTA 6 is through the roof. Some of these encounters even lead you into side quests and collectibles, which the game calls strangers and freaks. Rockstar handles side stories better than any other developer, with production values that rival many games' main campaigns. While the quantity of side quests may be lower than typical filler in open-world games, the quality is exceptional. The variety has set a new standard. This is where their GTA heritage shows, introducing bizarre, funny characters who satirize real-world culture and stereotypes. While I didn't tackle all of them in this particular playthrough, I did in the past. I experienced several that came across naturally in this playthrough. Consider the gunslinger photographs. Though limited in number, likely around 5, each encounter is unforgettable. Black Bill, Emmett Granger, Flaco Hernandez, and Billy Midnight are all striking characters, and the missions themselves offer variety and intensity comparable to the main campaign. This stands out as my favorite among the Strangers and Freaks missions, and even on replays I don't skip them.
You just took yourself a regular shit shower, Mr. Granger.
Same applies to the animal photography quests. Albert Mason is an absolute legend. It provides not only a detailed view of the untamed fauna, but also an authentic sense of the era and setting. Then there is Charles Chardonnay, a French artist you find in Saint Denis, specializing in nude paintings. His missions and interactions are genuinely hilarious, making it hard not to laugh while playing.
Like Buddha said, we are all just here to
Well, that explains the decadence of those Hottentots.
Hey, you got a picture of my wife here, in her delicates.
Henry, is that your behind? Why would you be showing it to that man?
That's my mama. As nude as the day she was born.
Stop looking at my husband's buttocks.
Stop looking at my mama.
Another standout character is a professor developing an electric chair for executions. I can't remember his name at the moment. The game has you assist him in refining his invention and securing a suitable subject for a demonstration. A brilliantly dark and memorable side mission. I genuinely felt for the bounty, especially seeing him crying tied to my horse.
You'll be happy to know we ain't got far to go. Hold on tight now.
The quests involving Brother Dawkins and Sister Calderon stands out as they seamlessly intertwine with Arthur's personal arc. Arthur's growing awareness of his past sins and his attempts at redemption give these missions emotional weight that deepens the core narrative. In my opinion, the game's strongest side quests appear in Arthur's final chapter, as Chapter 6 expands access to both Annesburg and Saint Denis, enriching the experience with some of its most memorable stories. starting with the Serbian scientist that you meet in Saint Denis, and again he's one of those characters that feeds into Rockstar's parody of real-world figures.
Good for you.
Finding his mission was quite a chore for me, by the way. You have to be in his lab at a specific time of day and weather to take part in, where you find how he is making a robot, and again, another hilarious mission.
Isn't he wonderful? Is that it?
In stark contrast to the light-hearted tone of the scientist storyline, the widow Charlotte offers one of the game's most heartfelt side quests. Arthur teaches her how to hunt and defend herself, symbolizing his effort to bring some good into the world before his time runs out. Tragically, if you neglect her missions, she may be found dead, a haunting detail that reinforces the game's realism. Even minor characters who only show up once to introduce collectibles leave an impression. The man collecting cigarette cards in Flatneck Station, or the paleontologist who is like a lady version of Ross Geller, searching for dinosaur bones, or even the guy looking for the Jack Hall treasures. The sheer variety of personality and content is unmatched. Even 7 years after its release, few games have approached this level of richness and detail in side content. The bounties themselves are richly written, complete with cutscenes and distinct personalities. Rockstar could have reduced the quality here, but they went all in. Side stories and collectibles carry as much weight as the main narrative. This is one of those games where I want to sit down one day and just 100% it, do everything it has to offer, but I just couldn't find the time yet. As mentioned earlier, only Rockstar has the capability to surpass their own achievement. The open world is one of the two things that makes me wonder if we will ever see another game like Red Dead Redemption 2. While the discussion of the open world could easily extend much further because this world evolves and grows with the narrative, speaking of which, let's dive in. Big spoiler alert.
Feels like things have changed. The whole world's changed. But they don't want folk like us no more.
This line from Arthur Morgan perfectly encapsulates the essence of the story, an epic tale of a dying era. And we're watching its inevitable downfall unfold before us. This sprawling, meticulously crafted tale delves into every corner of the human condition, exploring honor, loyalty, the inevitability of change, freedom, humanity's will to survive, and the triumph of love and compassion above all. It's a story for everyone, one that reflects your own life and experiences as you move through it. What's most compelling about Red Dead Redemption 2's story is that it doesn't lean on twists, shock value, or unpredictable moments. The narrative's path is clear. You know who to trust and who will betray you. Fans of the first game can anticipate where key characters ultimately end up. Yet, despite this predictability, it delivers some of gaming's most memorable moments and character arcs. It stands as one of the best told stories in the medium, probably the best, emphasizing the journey over the destination, with redemption felt even after the credits roll. And standing at the very center of it all is one of gaming's greatest characters, Arthur Morgan. It's an odd comparison, but Arthur Morgan reminds me a lot of Jim Halpert from The Office, much like how Jim served as our reflection within the show, reacting to absurdity by breaking the fourth wall with quiet understanding. Arthur embodies that same grounded presence. Arthur serves as our reflection, our reaction to the chaos unfolding, and the inevitable end that looms over it all. He embodies the everyman, grounded, weary, and quietly observant as the world changes beyond recognition. He's reserved, often exhausted, and simply moves through the chaos, observing and enduring. Take for instance this scene where Beau passionately talks about how wonderful Penelope is. Arthur simply listens, quietly nodding, saying little.
She's amazing. She's like a woman from the future. She's like tomorrow, if tomorrow turns out fine.
It's a subtle but powerful moment. He's a man who's witnessed the cost of love, the inevitable pain and sacrifice that come with it, and you just see it in his eyes.
My money, my life, me. I wasn't good enough.
Even if Arthur never uttered a single word, his presence, expressions, and actions alone would still make him one of the greatest characters ever crafted. Arthur is a man stripped of everything. endearing his final days out of duty to those he still calls family, the Van der Linde gang. His unwavering loyalty to Dutch defines him. It's the very force that drives him through hardship, betrayal, and chaos. Dutch serves as a charismatic, almost paternal figure to Arthur, whom he admires despite all of Dutch's flaws and misdeeds. Arthur observes this man's downfall in silence, his wary eyes already sensing the deception long before it unfolds.
You keep killing folk, Dutch.
I am just trying to make sure that some of us survive, Arthur. Now, shall we proceed?
Arthur embodies the acceptance of a changing world and the inevitable rise of civilization, yet he remains bound by Dutch Van der Linde, who clings stubbornly to a distorted vision of freedom and the outlaw life. And of course, Roger Clark's portrayal of Arthur Morgan deserves special mention. It's a performance of the century. It's a performance that is Oscar-worthy. Watching his interviews, you can immediately see the character come to life through him.
You know, nothing means more to me than this gang, the bond we share. It's the most real thing to me. I would kill for it, I would happily die for it. But in spite of all of that, I would have easily left you here to rot if Charles hadn't stopped me.
I don't believe a word of that, Arthur.
Get him out of here!
While tackling numerous profound and weighty themes, the story remains consistently and surprisingly humorous. While Rockstar is renowned for their humor and satire, their ability to integrate subtle comedic moments within a deeply serious narrative stands out as one of the game's most impressive accomplishments. This is most evident in the characters' interactions and the meaningful moments they share.
Dutch, me Poe.
Where have you been?
Working. Marston's thing.
Good. And?
We're just waiting to get some pay on a few sheep.
The game allows you to sit in camp and genuinely engage with the characters who truly feel like family. The story carefully develops each and every one of them. Main missions often revolve around spending time together, whether it is hunting with Hosea, sharing a drink with Lenny, embarking on a chaotic adventure with Micah, or going shopping with Sadie Adler. You grow to care deeply for all of them. They are family. The character dynamics on display here are insane. Most games have one or two, but in RDR 2, every duo has chemistry. The game establishes intricate dynamics among nearly all characters, ensuring that no one feels excluded. And I love how everyone in the camps just adores Arthur for his loyalty, and how he provides for everyone without asking for anything in return. I could talk for hours analyzing characters like Pearson, Hosea, Uncle, and Bill, as well as those with limited screen time, such as Tilly and Karen. Even John Marston and his family, though somewhat sidelined in this game for the most part, ultimately plays an equally crucial role in the story. Even characters like Miss O'Shea and Sean undergo some of the most devastating arcs, moments where players may feel in control, only to realize they're not. As I noted earlier, Arthur isn't the sole standout character in RDR 2. In my view, two others match his brilliance. While Arthur naturally holds a deeper connection as the protagonist, these two characters exceeded my expectations. Dutch Van der Linde is of course one of the other standout characters. His charisma is magnetic, and much of the narrative revolves around him. He's the source of many problems, yet the game ensures we remain invested in him. Even when his honor is challenged or he is ridiculed by other characters such as Angela Bronte for example, players stand with him, fully aware of the tragic path he will ultimately follow, especially if familiar with the first game.
I possess things that you will never understand.
You don't even possess your own men. $1,000 to the man who kills him and sets me free.
What are you gonna say now?
They are even bigger fools than you.
No doubt.
He consistently appears to have a plan, yet his desperation and obsession with something that is unattainable blurs the lines. At times, it's hard to recognize the caring father figure introduced in Chapter 1.
I had a goddamn plan!
The other character that stands out is Sadie Adler. Rockstar has often been criticized for its female characters, sometimes portrayed as insane or overly sexualized. And while there's some truth to this, Sadie Adler breaks that mold. She's one of the finest female characters in gaming, so compelling that I'd love to see RDR 3 told from her perspective. Though largely absent in the early story, her development unfolds subtly in the background, and by around 60% of the narrative, she emerges as a fully realized character. Strong female characters are often criticized as unrealistic by many, yet Sadie Adler defies that notion. Her arc is grounded in humanity, portraying a realistic journey of survival. Her presence in the epilogue only strengthens her impact.
I ain't got no business with you right now.
What that mean?
For the last time. Leave me alone!
Or what?
What's that?
The interplay of Arthur's morality, Dot's obsession, and Sadie's struggle for survival creates an epic narrative dance. For me, this is the most compelling part of the story, surpassing even the many other remarkable elements. As is typical for Rockstar, the story is drawn out and unconcerned with pacing. It is a story that gets better and better as it progresses further. While certain sections could be trimmed to enhance impact in my opinion, which I'll get into, the narrative remains a masterpiece in its current form. Like seriously, there are about 10 different stories packed into this one narrative. Beyond the central conflict, there's a subtle love story that can easily be missed and doesn't have a clear resolution. Choosing not to read Mary Linton's letter removes her from the narrative, and multiple points in the game allow you to opt out of helping her. The narrative chain is incredibly special and heartfelt. Watching Arthur interact with Mary is emotionally powerful, yet entirely optional. You can feel there is a long history there, the only chain that shows some hope for Arthur.
You can't stand there.
What, in the street?
Yes, in the street.
Is it your street?
Just get out of here.
Why?
I said, just get out of here.
Listen, partner. I'm waiting on the lady. She's a fine lady. She's just gone inside. If I wasn't waiting on this lady, you'd be dead already. But if you continue to irritate me...
By contrast, Beau and Penelope's love story reaches a conclusion, illustrating his enduring generosity towards something he can never fully possess. Then there is the Thomas Downs debt collection mission that deserves special attention. Introduced as a simple debt collection side quest, it gradually reveals the state of Arthur's moral compass. Unlike the honor system, this narrative thread is fixed. Players cannot influence it. Instead, we witness the handcrafted tragedy of this family, orchestrated by Arthur's actions. It's also striking to realize that Arthur contracted tuberculosis by being near Mr. Downs, who was in the final stages of the disease. Again, no game storytelling does this. The Thomas Downs mission could have been cut entirely without affecting the main story. After all, we already have the deer symbolizing good and the wolf symbolizing bad after about every chapter. But Rockstar included it anyway, and that's what adds so much depth. This is why RDR2's story is a masterpiece.
Ah, Mrs. Downs, thank you for your punctuality. It's next to godliness, isn't it?
That's cleanliness.
I'll have to take your word on that. Good day.
I'd like to explore the story chapter by chapter, as RDR2 truly warrants this level of attention. I hope you'll stay with me. From the outset in Chapter 1, the narrative establishes its central conflict. The gang is fleeing after a botched robbery in Blackwater, having lost multiple gang members and money, barely scraping by in a temporary camp in Coulter. This tension persists throughout the story, as the government and the Pinkerton Detective Agency pursue one of the last outlaw groups in the Wild West. Chapter 1 starts slowly, though I found it enjoyable because of how breathtaking this locale is. Chapter 2 marks the true opening of the game. It was in Chapter 2 that I realized, even back in 2018, that Rockstar was pushing storytelling to a level more ambitious than ever before. The gang relocates to Horseshoe Overlook near Valentine, staying ahead of the law. The open world becomes fully accessible here, allowing players to pursue narrative threads in any order. The gang returns to its outlaw lifestyle, conducting robberies, cons, and various schemes to survive. Each member contributes by earning their own keep, sustaining the gang as a whole. For a brief period, things seemed to be improving, but it didn't last. The Pinkerton Detective Agency tracks them down due to their disruptive way of life and the trouble they bring to surrounding towns. So the gang has to move to save their skins. Chapter 3, set at Clemens Point, is my favorite chapter in the game. Dutch schemes to hide in plain sight, conning the Braithwaite and Gray families while subtly undermining the sheriff. create a high-stakes narrative. The plantation family's double cross escalates tensions, culminating in violent confrontations from Sean's death to Jack's kidnapping. Sean's death was genuinely heartbreaking, a sudden gut-punch moment I never saw coming, followed by the mission at Braithwaite Manor, stands as one of the most remarkable sequences ever in gaming, revealing Dutch's actual face and testing Arthur's moral compass. From here, the situation unravels entirely. Then we move on to Chapter 4. The aftermath of the feud leaves the gang battered, both financially and emotionally. Forced to regroup at Shady Belle, they set their sights on one last ambitious score, a desperate bid for freedom as the stakes reach their peak. St. Denis marks a dramatic tonal shift, the gang's rugged outlaw lifestyle colliding with civilization's grandeur. Dutch's leadership begins to unravel here. His confidence turns to recklessness, and paranoia takes root. It's clear they have stepped into a world far bigger and more dangerous than they can manage. This chapter also marks Sadie Adler's transformation into a commanding and independent presence, a woman willing to take risks and push boundaries that many of the older, more experienced gang members wouldn't dare to.
When you gonna let me come robbing with you, Dutch?
My lord, a few more like her, we could take over the whole world.
A few more like her, there wouldn't be much of a world left.
Yes.
Special shout out to a couple more missions from this chapter, especially that whole giant gator sequence. And I don't know how Rockstar did it, when Arthur was walking or swimming through that swamp, I legit felt the gator brushing against my legs.
God, no.
Fire off a couple of warning shots just to pretend you care.
The Graveyard mission deserves equal praise. Its masterful use of sound design and atmosphere captures a sense of dread and uncertainty rarely seen in open-world games, pulling you right into that moment. Another standout is the mission involving Angelo Bronte's death, a pivotal narrative moment that marks the beginning of Dutch's moral unraveling. His actions in this scene reveal the cracks forming in his leadership and foreshadow the chaos that follows. At this stage, the gang is in complete disarray, and the tension feels final. Playing it for the first time in 2018, it genuinely felt like the story was reaching its endgame. One last grand heist before fading into the sunset, GTA 5 style. And oh boy, was I wrong. The St. Denis bank heist turns into a total disaster. The Pinkertons show up almost instantly, Hosea gets killed, Lenny gets killed, John's arrested. It's pure chaos. With the gang trapped inside the bank and everything falling apart, their only option is to flee the country and hope things cool off as we move to Chapter 5. So Chapter 5 takes us to Guarma, this unexpected Caribbean island. And honestly, props to Rockstar for even building a whole new map just for this short narrative detour. But I gotta say, I didn't really enjoy it. It felt kinda half-baked, short enough that the whole helping the resistance subplot didn't make much sense, but still long enough to pull me away from what was happening with the gang. Still, it serves a purpose. It made me realize how much I actually care about the gang. I was genuinely worried about them. Like, are they okay? What's happening back home? Chapter 6 brings Arthur back home, and the return is marked by one of the most emotionally powerful moments in the entire game. The ride accompanied by Unshaken. It's a masterclass in tone and musical storytelling, blending reflection, melancholy, and resilience into a single unforgettable sequence that continues to resonate even after multiple playthroughs.
May I stand unshaken.
Chapter 6 centers on the collapse of the Dutch Vanderlyn gang and the conclusion of Arthur's arc. It's the most emotionally intense chapter as we witness Arthur grappling with the devastating effects of tuberculosis. Rockstar's early foreshadowing, from his persistent coughing to the lack of effective treatment, makes the progression both believable and painfully tragic.
It's not good news.
I guess that.
You got tuberculosis. Really sorry for you, son. It's a hell of a thing.
My issue with Chapter 6 is all the rains fall, eagle flies, and army stuff. Sure, it made sense in Chapter 4 when it was first introduced, but here the focus should have been on Arthur's illness and the gang falling apart. Rockstar loves these long detours, and it worked the first time I played it, but on replays, honestly, it just drags. Definitely a part I'd personally trim down. It was all Dutch's diversion plan to take attention off the gang, so it actually does have huge narrative implications. Arthur's final stretch centers on redemption and protecting those he cares about, from aiding the Downs family to right the wrongs, ensuring the Beau-Penelope storyline reaches its conclusion, albeit violently by massacring all of their cousins.
What is with all these goddamn cousins?
These choices underscore his journey toward moral clarity before his inevitable death. And then of course there's one last heist, meant to make enough cash for the gang to get out alive. Well, whatever's left of them. Anyway, members are leaving, trust is gone, and loyalty, just forget it. Dutch shows his true colors and we finally discover there's a mole, Micah Bell. I did not see that coming at first because Micah always seems out of the picture. But looking back, it actually makes total sense why he would feed information to the Pinkertons. It's always Dutch following Micah's plans that end up causing huge consequences.
It all makes sense now.
Finally, the story culminates in the passing of the reins to John Marston and the poignant death of Arthur Morgan, a character whose depth and humanity secure his place as one of gaming's finest. Rest in peace, Arthur. Your legacy will endure forever.
Go. Arthur, go to your family. Arthur, get the hell out of here and be a goddamn man. You're my brother. I know.
That moment alone could have served as the perfect conclusion, arguably one of the finest endings in gaming history. Yet, Rockstar chose to extend the narrative with epilogues, providing additional closure and perspective on the surviving characters. First off, big props to Rockstar. They gave us 10 extra hours of story without charging a dime. I mean, this could have easily been a $40 DLC and no one would have batted an eye. But honestly, I feel like the epilogues could have been DLCs or maybe just a shorter side game. Felt a bit too slow and long for me personally. Now, don't get me wrong, I loved the epilogue. I actually played through it only once when the game first came out, but this time around, I just loaded up my old save and stuck to the key missions so I could wrap up the video. I love how perfectly the epilogue ties everything together. You get to see John and his family living a mostly peaceful life at the ranch after the gang's fall. Just regular folks doing their thing. It's such a beautiful, peaceful contrast to all the chaos before. Sadie continues to shine in the epilogue, solidifying her role as a bounty hunter. She partners with John to help him generate the funds needed to repay the loan for the house and land he's acquired through the bank. The reimagined Blackwater is breathtaking, and it resonates even more now that I've played RDR1 after RDR2, adding an extra layer of emotional weight. If there's interest, I'd love to create a similar in-depth video analyzing Red Dead Redemption 1. Let me know in the comments. The highlight of the epilogue is undeniably its final two missions. The first features John proposing to Abigail during a sunset boat ride in Blackwater, a moment of genuine tenderness rarely captured in video games. Its emotional sincerity and presentation make it feel remarkably fresh and memorable.
If you think this is dumb, I'm sorry.
Shut up, you silly man, and kiss me. I'm begging you. No! You risk all this? For what? For Micah?
All this wouldn't exist if it weren't for Arthur, Sadie, and all the folks that fell.
The finale lives up to the game's title, Redemption. Sadie, Charles, and John unite to confront Micah and Dutch one final time. It should feel super satisfying, but honestly, by this point, we have lost so much that it kinda doesn't even matter. That's the thing about this story. It's always been about the journey, not the destination. The story concludes with Dutch acknowledging his deceit and choosing to walk away, while John delivers justice to Micah. This final resolution caps off what is arguably one of the most compelling and masterfully told narratives in video game history.
You shot me pretty good.
Red Dead Redemption 2 from a gameplay standpoint is a perfect example of how no game is ever truly perfect. The gameplay here is straight up bad. I can't understand how some fans insist this game is without fault, how it is this flawless thing. While it remains one of my favorite games ever, it's hard to ignore that the gameplay has serious problems. Honestly, the fact that this game has one of the best stories ever and the most incredible open world really saves it from its rough gameplay. The gameplay package here is quantity over quality. It provides way too many systems, but most of them are not very good. So there are two sides to Red Dead Redemption 2's gameplay. It's really a double-edged sword. One side, which I talked about earlier, is how the game wants you to take things slow. You care for your horse, pick your weapons before every fight, how you have to maintain your guns using gun oil so they perform optimally, and loot enemies one by one with these slow, deliberate animations. When you're robbing a house, Arthur picks up every item individually. When you're hunting, you go through a full process, skinning the animal, picking up the hide, storing it on your horse. They really want you to soak in those gorgeous animations and appreciate every tiny movement. It gives the gameplay such a unique identity, and honestly, I love that. A lot of people find it to be boring, but I don't. The issue, however, is that while the animations look incredibly real, controlling Arthur often feels like a chore. The movement is bulky and animation heavy, reminiscent of GTA 5's sluggish control scheme. Cover transitions feel inconsistent and unresponsive, and sprinting often makes Arthur difficult to control. The camera, particularly in tight indoor spaces, becomes erratic and disorienting. It's just not fun. Character movement is a big deal for me. Then comes the gunplay. Honestly, even Ubisoft titles from 2014 handle third-person shooting better. Watch Dogs, which I recently revisited, is a clear example. There's just nothing to it. Every time I have to shoot a gun in this game, I feel discouraged. It's unresponsive, and landing headshots feels nearly impossible unless you're using Deadeye. Honestly, Deadeye is basically a gameplay compensator. I know it sounds harsh because everything else in the game is perfect. The gunplay looks amazing, smoke everywhere, the environment reacts to every shot. The music kicks in, it's pure cinematic magic. Every gunfight is presented like a set-piece moment, something most open-world games can't pull off. But RDR2 does it. But then you actually have to shoot, and it's just below mediocre. GTA 6 really needs to step up in this area, and I'll be super disappointed if they don't. Alternative combat options offer little relief. Stealth is practically non-existent. Stealth takedowns quickly devolve into open gunfights, leaving players feeling at fault when in reality, the game simply lacks stealth mechanics. Hand-to-hand combat? Yeah, it's bad. So animation heavy that I honestly have no idea what I'm doing most of the time. I know it might sound incredibly harsh, and I'm usually forgiving of gameplay in these kinds of games, but here you are spending over 60 hours if you're only beating the story, and close to 200 hours if you're doing everything. That's not acceptable. Take Mafia: The Old Country for example. The gameplay is mediocre, sure, but it's only a 10-hour-long game, and its main goal is to serve the story. That's not the case here. Same goes for the quality of life stuff. Like if my horse is out of reach or dies in the middle of nowhere, I'm just stuck there for hours with no way out except running around looking for something. There's no proper fast travel, you have to take the train or stagecoaches, and it's anything but fast. Managing your inventory or navigating the map always feels like one button too many. Again, this isn't really RDR2's fault, it's a Rockstar thing. Their games nail everything else, but when it comes to actually playing them, they always fall short. So yeah, the gameplay isn't great. They could fix some of these issues with a remaster, at least the quality of life stuff, but knowing Rockstar, they probably won't. Red Dead Redemption 2 is an amazing piece of art. It's one of the best entertainment products I've ever had the privilege to enjoy. I sometimes wonder how Rockstar Games are only $60, because this is an experience I'd happily pay $200 for. The amount of content, the production value, is just so extra in the best way. Even without revealing spoilers, the epilogue alone could easily justify another $60. This single title essentially contains the depth of 5 separate games. It's an open world that keeps giving something new every playthrough, telling a story that touches on almost every aspect of the human race. Yeah, the gameplay is the weak part, but the open world and the story are so good that nothing can stop this from being one of the greatest games ever made. Honestly, it's a game of the century, and is going to keep dominating conversations about open world games for years and years to come. I honestly don't know how Rockstar will ever top this Magnum Opus. I know GTA 6 will probably have the most detailed and immersive open world ever, but I'm not sure if they can tell a story this good. Just thinking that GTA 6 is less than a year away gives me goosebumps. If you saw the title of this video, the statement "there will never be another Red Dead Redemption 2", that's obviously hyperbole, but if anyone can do it, it is Rockstar Games. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing. This is the toughest video I have made on the channel, and your support will mean the world to me. Let me know your opinion on Red Dead Redemption 2 in the comments. Do check out my other similar videos like this hour-long retrospective I did on The Last of Us Part 2, which is also one of my favorite games of all time. Thank you for your time. I'll see you next week. Rax Plays, signing off.
Well, I guess that's that then. All them goddamn years.